Hi, this is Charlie Zeiss with Stargate Pyramids. Today's video is entitled Stargate Pyramid Geometry Found in Headwear Around the World. I recently did a video where I showed that the Stargate Pyramid geometry was found in all major religious traditions, and I mentioned that headwear in all the traditions around the world similarly demonstrates this Stargate Pyramid geometry, the geometry of creation. So I wanted to go through briefly some of the examples in a short video today to show you that this geometry exists in a variety of contexts from around the world. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to open up here and show you the first slide, where you saw the Dunce Cap being demonstrated. For those of you who haven't seen this before, quickly, I'm using the MB Ruler, which is a protractor app. I'm just showing you the accuracy here with the Giza Pyramid. We're 1/100th of a degree off. We're less than 100th of a degree off with the Russian pyramid that has a 36/345 degree angle. And here's one of our own Stargate Pyramid replica of those Russian pyramids. So to start with, we're going to look at Stargate Pyramid geometry in Western headwear. To digress for just a moment, I want to give people context of what the Dunce Cap is and why we're studying it. It's a conical cap formerly used as a punishment for slow learners at school. For those at my age or around my age and up are going to know about this. Younger people may not. But briefly, the history of the Dunce Cap will give you some context as to how this information has been suppressed. But John Duns Scotus was a 13th century Franciscan monk who developed a theory of a metaphysical God as opposed to an anthropomorphic God. And as part of his view of God, Scotus advocated the use of pointed hats as a method of enlightenment and inspiration. And the design of these hats was based on the hats of the wizards and the witches of the era. And detractors of Scotus made fun of the cap, most likely as a way to denigrate his belief in a metaphysical God. And over the centuries, the Dunce Cap came to be seen as an object of ridicule and was actually in the Victorian era of Europe, was used as a disciplinary symbol both in Europe and America. So what's interesting is that this geometry, which is the interdimensional geometry of creation and the Phi Scaling Angle, as it's called by Marshall Lefferts, was suppressed and was found to be hiding in plain sight, as you'll see here in just a moment. So what is the geometry of the Dunce Cap? It's exactly that of our pyramids, the geometry of creation and the Phi Scaling Angle. So it's not an accident that that geometry is carried through to today, I don't think. Here's a picture of a medieval Dunce Cap showing the exact same geometry. Here's a witch hat. This is the Wicked Witch of the West hat from the Wizard of Oz, having the same geometry. Here's another witch hat, which you can buy at Party City. Found this on their webpage. Other medieval headwear that was used by royalty at the time, you can see same geometry in a number of cases. Here's a gnome hat that you can buy on Amazon. Here's a Mickey Mouse sorcerer's hat with the same. Birthday hats, New Year's Eve hats, all with the same geometry. But to move on now to Eastern culture, I wanted to show you quickly a Shinto priest headwear from Japan that seems to have essentially the angle of creation. Here's some Turkish headgear from the 19th or early 20th century, demonstrating the same geometry. Here's something called a tantour that was worn in, I believe, 19th century Turkey by women with the same geometry. Here's some pictures from Hindu culture, and this is where we're going to find a lot of this information. You're going to see these images here, ancient images, with these women are wearing these hats which have the same geometry as that of the Phi Scaling Angle. Now we're going to look at the three major deities in the Hindu religion. Shiva, the destroyer, has his hair apparently is wrapped in this angle of 76.36 degrees. Here's a piece of actual headwear depicting Shiva with the same geometry. Here's Vishnu, the second of the three major deities, with a piece of headwear on with this angle, and Brahma as well, depicted with the exact same geometry. Meenakshi, who was actually a consort of Shiva, also is demonstrated with headwear with the same geometry. And here's a picture of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva all together, all wearing very similar headwear and all with the same geometry of creation. And finally, a picture from a Buddhist temple in Georgia showing the headwear of Buddha as well with this same 76.345 degree geometry. So as you can see, this geometry spans throughout the world. It's been used in the East as a symbol of enlightenment, and although it was used in the same way in the West initially by witches and wizards, and was attempted to be introduced, as you saw, by John Dunce Scotus, the Catholic Church and the powers that be have suppressed that knowledge in the West. But suffice it to say, this is the exact same geometry that you find in Stargate Pyramids, in the geometry of creation, and the Phi Scaling Angles. So proof once again that this geometry is very valid and very important. Thank you for listening. As always, please subscribe and tell your friends about Stargate Pyramids. Thank you for listening and have a great day.